Google's headquarters is located in Mountain View, Calif., but it might as well be Mount Olympus given the company's wild success and seemingly unending acquisition spree. The Google search engine, which handled 70% of all online requests at the time we wrote this, is just the tip of a rapidly expanding empire. Over the years, Google has introduced a suite of innovative applications and services, ranging from Gmail and Google Apps to AdWords and AdSense. The company also has ventured into the smartphone fray, and is no doubt hatching new plans as I create content for YouTube. No wonder the company's stock consistently sells for $600 a share or higher on the Nasdaq exchange. What's astounding is not the level of success the company has achieved, but the timeline in which it has done it. IBM history dates back to 1911, Microsoft and Apple to the mid-1970s. Google doesn't have to look back nearly so far. All things Google began in 1995. That's when Sergey Brin, a 21-year-old student at Stanford University, took University of Michigan graduate Larry Page, just a year older, on a tour of the campus. Legend has it that the two disliked each other and bickered the entire tour. But it must not have been a complete disaster because Page enrolled in Stanford and began working to fulfill the requirements of his PhD program in computer sciences. Page considered several topics for his doctoral thesis but finally settled on the World Wide Web, which, although growing in the mid-1990s, was still little more than a curiosity. Page decided to focus his attention on the link structure of the web. Was it possible, he wondered, to use links between web pages to rank their relative importance? And, if this was indeed possible, could he develop an algorithm, a set of mathematical rules, to count and qualify every backlink on the web? By 1996, Page was knee-deep in the project, but the complexity of the math proved challenging. He reached out to Brin, the outspoken grad student who first introduced Page to the Stanford campus. Brin began working with Page to further refine and develop the math, so that links pointing to a site could be ranked according to importance. They named the resulting algorithm PageRank and then inserted it into Backrub, a search engine that started crawling the web, beginning with Stanford's homepage and working outward from there, across the 10 million online pages that existed at the time. A year after incorporating the algorithm into Backrub, the two students knew they were onto something big. The search results they were getting from Backrub were far superior to results being produced by existing search engines, in their opinion. Not only that, Page and Brin realized that as the web grew, their results would only get better, because a growing number of internet pages meant more links and greater resolution in determining what was relevant and what wasn't. They decided to change the name of Backrub to something that better reflected the massive scale of their project. They settled on Google, after Google, the term used to describe the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. However, it takes more than a great idea to start a company. You also need cash, and lots of it. Larry Page and Sergey Brin had trouble finding investors when they first started to raise capital to launch their brand new search engine. Then they had the good fortune of meeting Andy Bechtolsheim, a founder of Sun Microsystems, who wrote a check for $100,000 to Google, Inc. With nowhere to deposit the money, Page and Brin Incorporated, anxiously waiting 2 weeks until the seed money could be placed in the bank. The rest, as they say, is internet history. Finally, we end this video with this little fun fact. Although the Google brand name might be interesting or even innovative, it's the PageRank algorithm that forms the company's foundation. On Jan 9, 1998, Page and Brin filed for a patent with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Patent number 6,285,999. Method for node ranking in a linked database. Lists Larry Page as the inventor and the assignee as Stanford University. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to get latest updates from our channel. Take care.